This is the Pro Audio Suite podcast. Quick Bites.
Welcome to another Pro Audio Suite Quick Bite. This week we're talking about Pro Tools because they've just added folders.
Folders and Pro Tools tracks.
I was going to talk about that.
That's exciting, I guess. Go for it.
I saw a video. We were talking about this before we recorded, but let's rehash this anyway. I saw a video where they were talking about that. And for those who haven't seen it or experienced it, for an example, you could take all your drum tracks and put them into a folder in inverted commas, and then whatever you do to that folder happens to everything that's inside that folder. And the point I was making to the guys before was, firstly, I think it's been around on other doors since, 2013, 14, I think you were saying?
Earlier than that.
Robert? Is that right?
Folder tracks were I believe Cubase probably had it. Cubase and Nuendo, what people call Cubendo, has had that, I believe, for a long time. Reaper's had it for a long time. I'm not sure how long, but I believe probably Logic has it. I don't know that for sure, though. But it seems like Pro Tools is like the last of the DAWs to finally get that, or
making a hoo-ha about it, creating 9-minute videos about it. But and the other thing that I sort of struck me was, effectively, it's pretty much a bus anyway, is it not?
That's
the way I see it.
Yep. But it graphically handles the screen better too, because now you can open and close that one folder track easily, and you can have like, here's my drum, and then I need to step into my drums. In Media Composer, they had a thing called stepping into a clip, where you would have, it's almost like a sequence that made the made the clip. It's sort of a bit like that, but not really.
Well, a day where there's not unusual to have 200 plus tracks on a production. Certainly it makes a lot of logistical sense.
Just for easier on the eyes.
Sanity's sake.
Would be really sweet. I don't know if you can you edit the folder track? Like, does the folder track show you like a composite waveform, and you can edit the whole folder track and it edits all the tracks below it?
Well, as I say, I've only watched a 9-minute video. I wasn't lucky enough to actually get there, but he didn't do that in this instructional video. So I would imagine if you could, that'd be a pretty powerful feature that you'd be wanting to push.
That would be a big reason. I don't know if the other workstations do that when you have a folder track. But that would make a huge reason.
It'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Yeah. Well, the other thing you can do there too is just group your clips and still edit it too. So I don't know. Interesting.
Grouping is all it really is. It's a grouping and a busing in one.
Yeah.
Have you seen these tools that let you unmix or unbake
the cake? Yeah.
I use Isotope's music rebalance almost daily, because I'm doing a lot of beat mixing stuff for some clients, and also there's a real trend in radio now of taking little grabs of songs and using them where you used to use a movie drop. Sort of taking grabs from songs now, like I did one this morning. It's when I wake up in the morning, grab from a song, right? So, but you want to put your own stuff underneath it. So you just go into Isotope Music Rebalance, strip out everything except the vocal, and then drop that over your own beat and your own little thing you've designed underneath.
Wow.
And voila, it's I don't know, maybe 90 seconds to grab it and do it. So, that's
interesting because Isotope does it in the computer, but some of the other ones that initially had these types of services would literally have to throw the data up to the cloud, unbake the cake, and then throw it back at you. And it was like an ongoing service. It wasn't a software that you buy.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, no. So that's that, and it's getting Isotope are getting better at it too. It's almost, you can hear a few artifacts, like you lose some bottom end, obviously, and a few bits and pieces in the vocal, but seriously, by the time you put it back with other stuff underneath it, you really wouldn't notice.
It's amazing.
Clever. Really clever.
I love it. Yeah, that's real innovation.
Yeah. Or stealing the guitar riff. That's the other one too you can do, obviously. You can isolate the guitar.
Yeah, exactly. Grace has a new M201. It's a single rack space version of their old classic stereo preamp. I guess it has a new topology inside. It makes it smaller. Their big thing that's a big seller for them is their 24-channel monitor controller that they sell.
The 908 or something, is it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's their big seller. I mean, it's not the biggest seller, but that's like the hottest product because nobody else makes it. There's nobody else that makes one that does.
There are companies that make similar things. Like there's a company in Japan that makes a monitor controller that takes like hundreds of inputs because it all comes in through MADI, and they actually work directly with the Pro Tools. Like their unit will fit right into an S6 console physically. Like it'll replace one of the Pro Tools modules with theirs, and it has all kinds of like folding down from whatever 10.2 to stereo practically.
Yeah, you can preview every version of surround mix on the planet, right?
Exactly. Yep. So I'm trying to remember what the name of that system is from. But they also worked with Nayrink on his VMon. They made the hardware for that. I think it's called Track Systems, maybe. But yeah, for multi-channel monitoring, it's that, or the Dangerous really doesn't get into like mega multi-channel, but the Dangerous is really popular with music guys, and then the other one is the Avocat.
I wish that Grace would actually make something to replace the big knob, because we were talking before we got on about
how much we hate the big knob.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's a hate thing, but it's certainly it's a very noisy piece of stuff.
But it's also like misdesigned. Like it has a talk back, but there's no slate output, and when you hit the talk, it doesn't dim the control room. It's like they just missed a bunch of stuff when they did that one.
Yeah, the PreSonus monitor station is a much improved version at the same price point. That's what I've been recommending. But yeah, Grace, they're a very small company, right? Michael Grace literally invents these things. He comes up with a design, does the circuit design, everything himself. And then it's developed and tested in-house and made in-house. It's a small operation. So when they launch a new product, it's a big deal. It takes them a while. But if they see a market niche and it fits their model, they'll make it eventually. They haven't made, for example, they have not made an audio interface, like a 2-in, 2-out, They're not going there yet.
Well, they're high end, but it is interesting how many microphone preamp companies. You look at Grace, you look at John Hardy, you look at a couple of these companies. They have one or two products, a handful of products, and they've been selling the same products for 20 years.
Yeah, they hang their hat on things that work and that people love, and they know how to fix and maintain them over the years.
Yeah, well, we know because my M101 was playing up. And we did a bit of troubleshooting, and they said stick it in a box and send it back. And so I sent it back to them,
which is better than telling you to stick it elsewhere.
That's right. I didn't say whose box it was, but they replaced everything, updated the whole thing, and sent it back. It's perfect. Yeah, and that was all. Really good. I just had to pay for the postage there and back, and that was it.
Like compared to my beloved Apogee 80-1000, which they declared too old to do anything with. And their poof won a really nice preamp.
Yeah, I don't want to get an Apogee. I'm not an Apogee fan. But for those kinds of reasons. But they also have the M108, which is a really nice 8-channel.
2 rack spaces, right?
It's one rack space.
One?
It's one space. See, they had the M801, and they flipped it on its ear, and they called it the M108, and it's a single space, 8-channel but with a whole bunch of interconnectivity on the back, like network connectivity, USB, everything you can imagine. So that's their answer to an audio. That's like their Apollo killer.
What are they? Are they making their own converters? Or are they using AKM chips? Do you know what they got in there for converters?
I really don't know. No, I really don't. I don't know. They've had products with converters in them for a long time. I used to have a Lunatech V3 portable mic preamp they used to make, and that had a digital out.
Yeah, I just wonder if they're brewing their own converters, or if they're using the chip. Here's your converter on a chip, just socket solder.
It's a good question. I really don't know. I don't know enough about the internal topology of their stuff to know that, and they may or may not tell you. But I would think if they did make it, they would be proud of that and tell you. But
It's kind of like when Millennia made some preamps with digital outputs, the converters were actually Apogee converters, and then Legend has it in return. The AD1000 I was talking about, was the mic preamp in it was a Millennia. They sort of basically did a little trade, supposedly.
But they didn't promote it. They didn't
Well, they weren't allowed to say
like,
it in their agreement. Like, we just have a converter in there. It's an app. It's a good converter. They said it's really good, but they never were able to brand it Apogee. And Apogee was never able to brand the preamp as Millennia. But both were fantabulous,
Well, Apogee's not afraid of doing that now because they do that partnership with Sennheiser a lot. So they've got a lot of co-developed, co-branded products, where Sennheiser makes the mic and Apogee makes the converters or the drivers, So that's a thing that they do a lot now. So I'm seeing that happen more and more. There's a lot of potential because now with firmware being what it is, the companies can add so much more functionality to their stuff. And then they can bake it into other products more easily now than they ever could.
Yeah, whoever thought a microphone would have firmware on it?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I just updated the Rodecaster Pro firmware. It's probably the 7th update I've done to it. It's just kind of mind blowing.
It's like having a Tesla, right? You wake up in the morning and there's a new software update.
Yeah, it's you just go to the website, you download it. But when I went to go download it, they had a firmware update for the Rode Video Mic NTG.
Really?
So even that microphone has a firmware, and it can be updated. So, they're like, well, the update allows the mic to better auto power on with certain cameras, and it will work better with the Panasonic GH5, stuff like that. Like very specific cameras, very specific use cases. They redesigned the firmware to work better with that hardware. I mean, that's just, who does that? I don't know any other company that does that.
Yeah,
it's pretty mind-blowing.
It's very clever.
Yeah. I mean, full disclosure, of course, we're supported by Rode, as you guys know, but it's for a damn good reason. Their development and R&D and their product execution and their support is just...
And they're Aussies.
Yeah,
and they're
that's right.
Aussies.
And they haven't burned down.
And in the U.S., the stuff's dirt cheap, thanks to the U.S. Aussie exchange rate.
Exchange rate.
Yes,
that's right.
Really affordable here. It's really affordable.
It's funny, we should move to America. We could get their gear cheaper, AP.
Yes, that's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I actually really am looking forward to testing the Video MTG because it's just, that mic is so clever for what it is. It's ridiculously clever. I mean, it's an on-camera mic. It's an iPhone mic. It's a USB interface mic. It's got a gain control in the back so you can shove it into any input and dial the gain properly. It's just, that thing is crazy. Its price point is insane too. I think it's $200 range. And it's based on the NTG technology, which is, they're good stuff. So that thing is crazy.
It's funny when we got involved with Rode and then we went over to their website, it's like I was unaware how many products they actually had. You usually think of Rode as like the NT1A and the NTG and there's the mics that you usually see, but it's like just keep on scrolling and it's like mic and another mic, and a lot of them are tweaks on existing designs, but they seem to have a pretty broad offering. I mean, they had a pair of small diaphragm condensers that like looked pretty tasty for classical music, for example.
Yeah, I think they're called the NT4s or NT5s or something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Like going after the
they have a
kind
stereo
of
mic that uses
market.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering what their next thing is going to be though, because you can, all the different things they're releasing is kind of leading to one spot of a kind of a large condenser microphone that has firmware that does all the things like a Lewitt or an Austrian Audio, but then will update. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, they could go in a million directions because they bought Aphex, so they have a lot of analog tech to pull from, and then they could do and they clearly are starting to get a little bit more into software, although it's rudimentary. But they could certainly do a dual diaphragm microphone with both outputs. They don't have that in their arsenal yet, and then add that with a little. Preamp modeling technology, and then you'd be basically one of 3 products out there with that tech.
Oh man.
This show was mixed by Voodoo Sound, edit by Andrew Peters, using Source Connect Now and Rode microphones, with technical support from George the Tech Whittam. Don't forget to subscribe and like us.
You look for trouble.